Hello, my name is Layla. I'm the wine director at Reid's Fine Foods and Reid's Runaway Gourmet. Our journey takes us to Tuscany, the rolling hills, the art, the history, and once again the wines and the food of this spectacular region. But today our journey is not to the Chianti region, Montepulciano, or even Montalcino, but to the cradle of the Super Tuscan wines, the Maremma region. Clara, it's a pleasure to meet you, greet you, and to be able to talk about the winery, your wines, what you have done with a small estate that truly has a presence now in the international wine market. Clara is the owner and the sales manager, which means that you travel all around the world trying to present your wines and make people aware of the fantastic job that you guys are doing. So going back in history, you read about what Maremma was some time ago, and it was just a land of, it was basically swamp with a very dangerous place and pets ridden. But now it has it's turned out to be the Gold Coast of Italy, and not only that, it's just beautiful open fields, beautiful sunsets, and of course the cradle of the Super Tuscans and the Morellino de Scansano DOCG that Clara is going to kind of take us through that and let us know more about it. I am a fanatic about the soils, and I think one characteristic of your wines is where you are, the Maremma.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, Maremma, it's a special land, as you said, because it's on the coast, so that the sea, the influence, the wind coming from the sea gives like a very special characteristic to the wine. But the most important thing about Maremma is that Maremma is not as flat as usually Tuscan areas around the coast are.
Small hills.
It has
mountains.
A lot of hills. So the wines are the wines coming from this area have a big acidity. They're not like hot as usually are wines on the coast.
On the coast.
Yeah.
So
And,
less tannic is what you're saying, or more tannic?
More tannic.
More tannic.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you have the sea wind blowing.
Yeah.
And so the soil has to have more than just sand.
The soil is it's very different. Like it changes a lot from area to area. In some places it's rich of minerals, a lot of minerals.
A lot of rocks.
Yeah. In other it's rocky and there's a lot of sandstones also. So it's really different from, like, it changes a lot from areas to areas.
So Morellino.
Morellino, okay. The
Morellino,
yes. Morellino means little black.
That's a nickname, right?
The nickname,
That's a nickname.
yeah.
Little
it means
black
little
grape.
black berries. And it's the DOC was founded in 1978. We were between the first to produce this kind of wine. That was also our first vintage. So by law, in the appellation, there has to be at least 85% Sangiovese.
Right.
And the Sangiovese that we have in the area, it's the same Sangiovese that there is in the Brunello area.
Oh, so it's
the Sangiovese
the Grosso. So
yeah.
from Grosso, which
Grosso,
is the big one, to the tiny one.
Yeah, Grosso means that they have smaller berries but thicker skin.
A lot thick skin.
Yeah. And so there has to be at least 85% Sangiovese, and then the law has been changed. At the beginning, you could add only like indigenous varietals. Then they changed the law, and so now you can add also some international grapes like Cabernet, Merlot,
and all of that.
And that's for the regular Morellino. Correct. Then for the Reserva, the law says that the wine has to be at least 1 year in oak.
Okay.
And then another year in bottle.
Okay.
So you can go on the market like the 3rd January after the harvest.
Perfect. So, let's do it the Italian way. Let's start drinking.
Okay.
So we have a white, and so the white is called
Poggio Argentato. Yes.
Che è Argentato?
Argentato is the name comes from Monte Argentario, which is a peninsula.
Okay.
So
it's a place.
Yeah, it's a place.
place.
It's a very beautiful place with a lot of beaches and yeah, it's very nice. And because from the vineyards from which we produce this wine, you can see this Monte Argentario, we decided to call the wine Poggio Argentato.
Okay. So is this a single varietal or is
The
a blend?
Poggio Argentato, it's
a
a very it's a very special blend for Tuscany because it's made 60% with Traminer and 40% with Sauvignon.
Traminer.
Yeah, which
That's
are not
kinda very unusual in that.
weird grapes for Tuscany. It was a vineyard that we planted to produce a dessert wine.
Okay.
That my mother wanted to do this dessert wine similar to the Sauterne, and so she did in the first years when she had to do the green harvest.
Right.
With that grapes, she did this wine.
She did this wine.
And then because it was very nice, she planted 2 other hectares close to the.
I think the aroma is a true representation of the grapes they're going to, because you get a little bit of the sweetness of the Traminer.
But the area gives a lot of acidity.
And then it really gets the acidity, it really goes in and just takes control of your palate tremendously.
It's very mineral because comes from the soil.
Very mineral, very pleasant. It's a wine that I think is not a sipping wine. It's very complex. It needs food.
It's full-bodied, but it's not. But it's very easy to drink. I mean, it's.
But I can see that pair with food. Like lobster.
With lobster.
Oh my God.
Crab.
It would be phenomenal.
Very nice.
It would just be phenomenal. So our second wine, it would be the first red, actually.
Yeah.
So let's move this over here. So the label is still prominent in our 2 wines.
Yes.
And so now we move to the Bernardino Scansano
Reserva.
Reserva. Very important to mention that. And I think this is going to be like the true representation of the Sangiovese grown in the Maremma.
Actually,
it's the soil. Which you say is so different.
Yeah.
So
the Reserva comes from many vineyards that we have. So it's not just one vineyard. So the soils that produce this wine are very different. Actually, it was the first wine that we have ever done. We started before the regular Morellino. We did the Reserva actually. So it's kind of strange. Usually people do the
other one and then they move on.
And in this wine you have 90% Sangiovese and 10% Cab. And we age it for 1 year in big barrels.
Big barrels?
Yeah, which are very traditional in Tuscany. We use different sizes from 500 liters to 2,000 liters, and they are all made of French oak.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's a very, there is Cab, but it's a very traditional wine. I mean, you can feel a lot of the Sangiovese.
But it's so smooth.
Yeah.
You know, the unmistakable taste of Sangiovese at its best.
Yeah.
At its best. That is absolutely delicious. The color is phenomenal. The nose is, it just lures you in, and you know what the palate is going to be. That's just without saying. It's absolutely exquisite. So now I'm ready. I'm ready for Saffredi, one of the best red wines from Italy. Unquestionably one of the best. So I
Do you know the story a little bit?
No, but I'm sure you can tell me the story. Tell us the story. I am very sure about that. So
So Saffredi is a very important wine for us, for the winery.
This is a Grand Cru of yours.
Yeah, it's a single vineyard.
It's
a
single vineyard.
Actually, it was a vineyard that my grandfather planted in between 1980 and 1982. My grandfather was not like, it was not his business. It was just a passion that he had. So
But better yet,
he had this property in Maremma from which he produced some wine. So he planted this vineyard, which was only Cabernet at the beginning, so 2 hectares of Cab. Then when the vineyards became productive, it was the year that he passed away. And so my mom, which was very, very young, she was only 20 years old, so
wow.
yeah, very young. She decided that she wanted to take care of this thing that was, I mean, it was not a winery.
Taken care of, it was like a,
and so
sort
she,
of like an abandoned kind of...
Yeah, it was like a countryside house.
Right,
yeah,
in the back burner.
And so she decided to take care of this and to invest her time in this business. And so when she tasted Saffredi, she was working at the time with Giacomo Takis, who was
I told you, Giacomo Takis is always there.
which was a very good friend of my grandfather. And so they together tasted this Cabernet, which was like amazing.
Amazing.
And they decided to use it for, to produce a wine dedicated to that vineyard. And my mother dedicated the wine to my grandfather. In fact, Freddy was his nickname. and Saffredi has been the first, the first wine from Maremma. So
this story has a lot of love.
Love, yeah.
It's all based on love.
Yeah.
So
now Saffredi is a blend, so it's 55% Cab, 40% Merlot, and 5% Syrah.
Syrah?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. It has a tiny bit of Syrah in it.
Yeah, because
you know what?
You can smell it.
You smell Maremma is what you smell. It's unbelievable. This is all Maremma. This is where the wine becomes memorable. The finish is just, it's just totally outstanding.
It's very elegant, I would say.
Extremely elegant.
I mean, it's
but
powerful, but it's not too
elegant.
powerful. Yeah.
Very well rounded. You can taste a tiny bit of the Syrah in it, but the nose is totally dominated by Maremma. It's amazing. Clara, what a pleasure. What an honor to meet you. I hope to see you soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.